Namami Shankaracharya Gurupada Saroruham Yasya Prasadan Modhobi Sarvajnoho Sadabhavam Kamakshi Karunarupam Kamakoti Jagadgurum Sinmurting Kalajaya Chitte Shankaracharya Mabjayam Bhaktagri Giri Sambhuta Shankararanabagamini Punatu Bhavanam Punya Shri Guru Sharitapaga Veda Vedanta Samrajya Dharma Kamartha Mokshatam Vidyaranyan Nubah Punyan Jo Vidyaranyam Achinatu Sadashiva Shri Brahmendra Dhrita Supada Padukan Dhiran Parasupendraryan Dhyayan Satatam Hridi Deve Dehecha Deshecha Bhaktyarugya Sukhapadam Udha Pamara Sevyantam Shri Jayendran Namamyaham Namama Shankaran Vakhi Vijayendra Saraswatim Shri Gurum Shishtamarganu Netaram Sarnati Pradam Satya Narayana Kshetrat Satyavratam Upagatam Ashriye Kamakotisum Satya Shri Chandrasekharam Sadashiva Samarambhavam Shankaracharya Madhyavam Spadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shri Shankara Bhagavatpāda Acharya's 2500th Aradhana was conducted last year, and after that our Shri Kanchi Kamakoti Moolamna Sarvagya Peethadipati Jagadguru Shri Shankara Vijayam Saraswati Shankaracharya Swamigal came to Rameshwaram and performed Abhisheka to Ramanatha Swami by his own hands and thereby completed his Tirtha Yatra. And starting from that auspicious occasion, with the prarthana of doing Anusandhanam of all the original Shankara Vijaya texts, we have embarked upon this prayatram, and we are now examining the Anandagiriya Shankara Vijayam in the 40th session, and we are about to start from the 67th prakarana of this text. And this was composed by one Anandagiri, a direct disciple of Shri Bhagavatpāda Acharya. And in the previous prakaranas, he has spoken about how Bhagavatpāda came to Kanchipuram, and he caused the king to renovate the temples and the dwellings in Shivakanchi and Vishnukanchi. And Bhagavatpāda established his omniscience, his sarvajñatva, and he also did Shri Chakra Pratishtha at Kamakshi Sannidhi. And he, because in that Jnana Kshetra, Bhagavatpāda did Moksha Marga Prakashana to his disciples. So that was what was spoken about in the previous prakaranas. And now, in this prakarana, starting from this prakarana, there is an important aspect about Acharya's Anugraha, which is going to be spoken about. Bhagavatpāda established Advaita as the Parama Siddhanta, but Bhagavatpāda obviously understood that not everybody can directly go to Advaita. That is something that is going to be mentioned here directly in the text. So, it is important that Bhagavatpāda also did prachara of the Upasana Paddhatis. Bhagavatpāda, to establish the Advaita Siddhanta, he composed the Bhashya Granthas upon the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutras, and they are very technical texts. And he also gave simpler presentations of Advaita in the form of Prakarana Granthas. But not everybody is interested in Advaita Siddhanta. It's the fact. So, for normal people, people who want to worship Bhagavan for removing their sufferings, for getting their prarthanas fulfilled and so on. For that, Bhagavatpāda has composed stotras. Even in Subramanya Bhujanga, Bhagavatpāda says, Kalatram Sutabandhu Vargah Pashurva Narovatanari Griheye Madiyaha. My wife, my children at home, and so on. Bhagavatpāda is obviously not referring to himself. He took up sannyasa directly from Brahmacharya Ashrama. So all these stotras and prarthanas are for our sake. So Bhagavatpāda, with a very clear understanding that both that not everybody will be able to directly come to Advaita, and also that the single Paramatma has taken up all these rupas for the sake of Bhakta Anugraha only. So Bhagavatpāda wanted to do prachara of the Upasana Paddhatis in the form of Vaidika Rupa. See, earlier we have repeatedly said that in all the very first prakarana was actually Shaiva Mata Nirakaranam, and we also clarified that Nirakaranam does not mean entirely saying that that is wrong. Who is going to how can Bhagavatpāda do Nirakaranam of Shiva Upasana? How can he say that doing worshipping Shiva is wrong? That is not Bhagavatpāda's Siddhanta. Bhagavatpāda's Siddhanta is that whether you worship Shiva or Vishnu or any other form, it is the single Paramatma which has taken up all these forms. So Bhagavatpāda is not going to object to that. Bhagavatpāda only said that you should not insist upon worshipping Shiva to the exclusivity, to the exclusion of other, or with disrespect towards the other forms. That is not correct. That is Bhagavatpāda, something that he wanted to clarify or emphasize. But Upasana is definitely to be done. Only those aspects which were against the Vedika injunctions, Sampradaya, that whether the Mudra Dharana or such things, only such aspects Bhagavatpāda had clarified. So, this Mata Pratishthapanam, the Shanmata Pratishtha, Bhagavatpāda is called as Vishadīkrita Veda Vedanta Marga Shanmata Pratisthapakacharya, the Kamakoti Pita Birudavali, which is the founder Bhagavatpāda's Birudavali. It clearly says that Bhagavatpāda did Shanmata Pratishtha. And what are the Shanmatas? In texts like Markandeya Samhita, it is said that, of course, the Pancha Ayatana, there is no doubt, Shiva, Ambika, Vishnu, Ganesha and Surya. But along with this, the sixth mata is in Shanmata is commonly taken to be Kaumara mata or the Upasana Subramanya, just like I have just now quoted from Acharya Subramanya Bhujanga, which is correct and which is there in Markandeya Samhita also. But the thing is that here in this particular Anandagiriya Shankara Vijayam, different, the sixth mata is something that is presented differently. That let us see that later on. But the important thing here is, of all these matas, except Vaishnava mata, about which we will talk presently, for all the other matas, the people through whom Bhagavatpāda did that mata sthapana were people who actually came and debated with Bhagavatpāda much earlier and were defeated in debate and accepted Bhagavatpāda's Siddhanta. See how you cannot force somebody, defeat in the sense that you cannot force somebody to accept a Siddhanta, or even if they accept it, they won't stick with it. So that is not what happened. Bhagavatpāda clarified the Siddhanta to them, they realized the Siddhanta and they took it up. So those very same scholars who accepted Bhagavatpāda's Siddhanta and became his Shishyas, but were earlier involved in the various Upasana Paddhatis, and through those scholars, because they already have that Vasana towards that particular Devata Upasana, so through them Bhagavatpāda caused the prachara of that particular Upasana Paddhati in the Vedika manner. So this is what happens. And for the very first Prakarana is Shaiva Mata Sthapana, and much earlier. Now we are in the 67th Prakarana, and in the 5th Prakarana, 62 Prakaranas ago, it was recounted how many Shiva Bhaktas, and especially one by name of Bhaktagraganya. So the Tasmat Pamara Buddhim Vihaya Vedokta Karma Samarpadam Bhagavati Kirtva Jiveshwarayoho Aikyarasandhanam Kurvan Dridhe Tajjane Janmamarana Prabaha Karana Mula Ajnana Nivrittau Jatayam Linga Sharira Bhangadvara Mukto Bhavasi. It is Samagyapitaha Bhaktagraganya. Bhagavatpāda gives, just like he has given, blessed all his other, the people to whom he spoke, he blessed this Bhaktagraganya by realizing Advaita Satya, you will attain moksha. And Tadanusaranascha Paramata Kalanalayaha. So this person, Paramata Kalanala, he was a Shishya of follower of this Bhaktagraganya in the Shaiva Mata. And they, all of them, they Yatim Paramagurum Shri Shankaracharyam Natva Swabandhaputra Mitradivisaha Samyakopatishtaha Shuddha Advaitano Babhuhu. So along with their Bandhu Janas, they all accepted Bhagavatpāda's Advaita Siddhanta. So here, the same Paramata Kalanala and such in other Prakaranas also, they are going to come, and through them Bhagavatpāda is going to do prachara of, cause this prachara of these Upasana Paddhatis to be conducted. So let us examine the text. Tadanu Sarva Lokaika Sakshi Chaitanyanubhava Vidita Bhuta Bhavishyad Vartamanakala Paramaguruhu Swatantra Purushaha. So Bhagavatpāda is described thus, that Chaitanyam, which is the Sakshi of all the worlds, that Chaitanyam Bhagavatpāda is experiencing as his own Swarupa, and through that Bhagavatpāda is capable of knowing the three times the past, present and future, and he is a Swatantra Purusha, he is Sarveshwara in fact. So there is nobody to order him to do this or do that. But that Acharya, Shuddha Advaita Nishtha, Garishthan, Setu Himachala, Madhyadeshasthana, Asheshan, Brahmanadin Kritva. So all the parts of society, Bhagavatpāda taught them Advaita Siddhanta, and whether starting from Himachala up to Ramasetu, all over Bharata. And here it is also mentioned that Bhagavatpāda established a Shishya Parampara. Tadiya seva angigara samartham shishya parampara, nija shishya paramparam akalpam kanchi pitha the tattat pattana sthayini kritva. So this is to be noted that Kanchi Pitha, the matha which was mentioned earlier that Bhagavatpāda established for his own nivasa, that pitha, and also the other pithas in the various parts of Bharat which Bhagavatpāda established. So in those pithas, Bhagavatpāda created the Shishya Parampara, which is qualified enough to continue this duty of doing prachara of Advaita Siddhanta not only, but also of the Sanatana Dharma and these Vaidika Upasana Paddhatis. So, and to accept the devotion, to be qualified enough to accept the devotion of all the people from Setu to Kashmir. And that after establishing that parampara, Tanmuladeva Sakala Shishyabhya Moksha Margopadesham Chakalpayitva, through those Shishya Paramparas, he arranged for the Moksha Marga to be shown to the whole world, all devotees. Tataha Kalavasmin Yuge Nanapapa Vidhasta Jnanankureshu Martyeshu Shuddha Advaita Vidyayam Anadhikarishu. So when people have become, because of this Kali Yuga, their Jnanankura, the Jnana does not even have a space to give even the smallest sprout, because of lots of papas being performed. Shuddha Advaita, they do not have adhikara in Shuddha Advaita Vidya. Vritti Punarapi Yathecham Visrinkhalam Bhavita, it is Samyak Vicharya. So again, see, if Bhagavatpāda only does Upadesha of Advaita Siddhanta and people are not qualified for that Advaita Siddhanta, or they try to enter and they fall, and Bhagavatpāda, if he has not taught anything else, then what will happen? Then people will start acting any way, which way that they want. Loka Raksharthancha Varnashrama Parivaranarthancha Matakalpanam. So because of this, he needs to provide an alternative for those who are not qualified to enter into the Advaita Vidya. So Loka Rakshartham, to protect them, Varnashrama Parivaranarthancha Matakalpanam Jivesha Bhedaspadam. So Jiva and Ishvara, they are not really two different things. That is true, but it is your perception that there is an Ishvara who is beyond you. So let us take that, because even the Upanishad says, Asthityevopalabdhavyaha tattvabhavena chobhayoho asthityevopalabdhasya tattvabhavak prasidati. We are not able to, even though Bhagavan says in the Gita, Yavanyashtasmi tattvataha, we are not able to understand or comprehend that tattva, tattvika swarupa of Bhagavan, which is beyond our thinking. But we take up the upasana of the saguna form, like the Tamil Bhakta Manikya Vasagar says, Bhagavan is his greatest form. Sittamam Shalla Setchian Kanga. His depth, his greatness is that it is beyond the mind. But Bhakti Balayil Paduvon Kanga. If you throw the net of devotion, then Bhagavan, is it possible for us to catch Bhagavan by throwing a net? No. But if we throw that net, then Bhagavan himself will come and get caught in that. That is the greatness of Bhagavan. So we are not our, that is, Manikya Vasagar is clearly illustrating how Bhagavan is, his real Swarupa is beyond us. But we have to say that you have to protect me. Avidalumnai Peradame, he says, I can receive you, you come to me if I cry to protect me. I pray to you to protect me, and then it is the duty of Bhagavan to come and protect his devotee. So that is the Upasana Paddhati, which is important, because people will think that Ishvara is separate from them. Okay, that is fine. So based on that, let us take them, that Upanishad says, one who is established in this, he will rise up to the higher level of realizing that Bhagavan is none other than his own form, real true form. That is, it will automatically come. That has to come by Bhagavan's anugraha only. It cannot, we cannot create it for ourselves. So that Upasana Paddhati has to be established. Upakramya Nijashishyam Paramata Kalaranam. So he is now the direct disciple of Bhagavatpāda, not of Bhattagrahanya. Bhagavatpāda calls him Drishtva Idamaha Bho Shishya Tabayat Pritihi Tadvadasva Samasataha Bhabi Karyochita Vashad Tatkaromi Matantava. Oh Shishya, where does your mind indulge with happiness? You please tell me briefly. So this is something to be done, and I will tell you about this. Ityukta paramata kalanalaha paramaguru charanarabindayukam uttamangena dhritva. So that paramata kalanala, he falls at the Bhagavatpada's feet and places those divine feet on his head. And sarvaparadham kshamasvayati kapolatadara purasaram. So he slaps his chins and prays. See how they behave to the Guru. Sarvaparadham kshamasva, because either something that I may have done earlier or what I am about to speak now, if there is something wrong there, please forgive me. Pranjalihi idam abravit. So he does the Anjali and speaks to the Acharya, Bho Swamin Paramaguru Pratyakshata Shive Jagatkarne Chiranma Mavatihi Ativa Lagna. So obviously, as mentioned earlier, his mind is dedicated to Shiva since a long time. Tathahi yadasti prapanchakaranam nityashuddha buddha mukta swarupam akhilamayam brahma satyajnanam anantam tadeva shivaha iti buddhistata kritva dhasta samshayosmi. So he has accepted Bhagavatpāda Siddhanta. So he accepts that single Parabrahman is the cause of the entire world. It is the nityashuddha buddha mukta swarupa, and it is permeating all things that exist, and it is of the Satyajnananta Swarupa. But now he says that is Shiva. So because his mind is tuned that way. Adaha Shivayeva. So because with this affirmed knowledge, I do not have any doubts at all. Adaha Shivayeva Brahma Pariburnam Jagatupadana Karanam iti Nishtayena. So this Shiva himself, he is the complete Brahmavastu, that is the cause of this world. It is Sarvamapidam Paridrishyamanam Jagat Shiva Dharanya Vritya Jata. So I meditate upon this entire world, that it is not separate from Shiva. Tadiya Teja Kana Sanjatam Brahma Vishnu Rudranu Srishtyacha Jagatavasthara Nimittanu. So out of the sparks which come out of Shiva, the Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra, who cause the creation, preservation and dissolution of the world, they are created. Tat Tejas Sambhuta, again and again this phrase, those who come out of the Tejas of Parameshwara, that phrase is again and again mentioned. The Indradi Digadhishan, the Digpalakas, Indra for the eastern direction and so on. Arkadi Grahan, Surya and the other Grahas. Ashwinyadi Taravali Krita Kalachakram, the Kalachakra, which starts from the Ashwini Nakshatra and so on. Yetatanta Santata Thagita, Bhumi Abhi, Dvipa, Giri Pramukhan. So within this Kalachakra, whatever is there, the Bhumi, the earth, the Sagaras, the oceans on the earth, and the continents on the oceans and the mountains on the continents, everything, Akhilam Shivam Sham, everything is an aspect of Shiva. Iti Bahudha Yukti Yuktam Vicharya Nirupadhika Parameshwareva Bhavadupateshamashat Paramatma. I have done lots of Tattva Vichara, and you have shown that as per your Upadesha, the Parameshwara, who is beyond all upadhis, all constraints, he is Paramatma. Sayevaham. Not only that, I also understand that he is I, or I am he. Iti Bahudha Samahidena Manasa Vartamanasyapime. Even though I am very satisfied with this, Matihi, Me Matihi, Tham Nishchinoti, but my mind thinks as follows. Bandhi Kashtha Sanyoga Jataha Vispulinga Iva. So when a piece of wood catches fire, so it breaks and sparks fly out. Iva Paramashiva Jatam Akilamidam Jagat Deva Manusha Tiryak Jiva Vyaptamiti. So this entire world has come out of Parameshwara because like this. So Devas, the Manushas, the horizontal, the Pranis, and all such Jivas are from this Parameshwara only. Tasmat Ishausha Kila Jivaha Ityukta Parameshwara Sarvair Upasaniyaha Ityagamamatah Asmad Abhishta Pakshaha Shaivaha. So all the jivas are the aspects or amshas of Parameshwara Shiva, and so that Shiva is the one who is fit to be worshipped, and this is what has been spoken about in the Agamas, and so this is our desired Paksha is the Shaiva Mata. Shivadhyana Parayeto Shiva Bhaktau Atandritaha Lokanjanti Shivasiva Sarvadeva Namaskritaha iti Bharata Vachana. So he quotes from the Mahabharata saying, those who meditate upon Shiva, who are continuously spending the effort, making efforts in Shiva Bhakti, they will definitely go to Shivaloka and they will be respected by even all the Devatas. So as I quoted Manikavachakar earlier, so they will go to Shivapura. That is what he says. Yellorum yetta paninde, with all other great people respecting them, such devotees will attain the Loka of Shiva. Brahmacharyadibhi Shivasyaiva Upasanam Atyanta Punyadam Bhoga Mokshaspadam. The Upasana of Shiva through Brahmacharya and other niyamas gives extreme punya, and it will give you bhogas, the sukhas which you pray for in this world, and even moksha. Ataha idameva angigaraniyam with samyak vidyapitaha paramaguruhu. So this is something that you should accept, is the prarthana of this Paramatakarana Paramaguruhu. Evam ekaha margaha astu nama. Yes, this is one marga that should be there. Brahma Vidusham Advaita Marga Samarohana Asamarthanamiti. So people who are not able to immediately climb up the marga of that Brahma Jnanam, who have not yet realized that, for them this is something that is very important, that is very, very appropriate. Prapte Kaliyuge Yuyam Etadevata Nirata Bhavati Kyekebhyo Munibhyo Dattam Gayatri Shapancha Praptamidam Vicharya. So when Kaliyuga comes, you should so it is called a shapa, but lots of Mahatmas will give a shapa with an anugraha in the form of shapa. So people who are not able to directly realize that Parabrahma Vastu, they have to worship that Devata which is appearing separate from them at the beginning, and then they will rise up. So Bhagavatpāda says, feels that this is something that is necessary for this yuga, and he also realizes that his Shishya is entirely qualified to do this prachara via Digvijaya. Digvijaya Adhikaranam Nijashishyam Jnatva Bahugalam Shaivamatam Swavantara Bhedanvitam Lokopakaram Kalpaja Iti Tamavadi. So what are the internal variations of the Shaivamata of 6 kinds? So that is very, very useful for the whole world. So go and do prachara of that, is the order that Bhagavatpāda gave to him. Sata Punaha Paramagurum Pranamya Shadvidha Bhedatmakam Shaivamatam Prasit. So he prepared the concepts of the 6-fold Shaivamata, and he came to Bhagavatpāda and did namaskara to him and say to Himachala Madhyadeshabhasino Brahmanadina Tanmathavalambirah Kartum. So people of all walks of society, from Setu up to Himachala, and he started to do prachara of this to all of them, because and Pratipaksha Jayarthanja, and to defeat the opponents. Digvijayam Arabhamanaha Paramata Kalanalaha Kanchi Nagarat Pragadi Digmarga Kramena. So he started the Digvijaya, this Paramata Kalanala, he started from Kanchipuram, a point to be noted, and so the Shanmata Sthapana originates from here. And so he took the eastern direction, and later on he went on into other directions also. Paramaguru Anugyaya Yatra Arabhamanaha Bhagavata Shankarasya Trishushamsha Jatoyam. So this is something that is uniquely mentioned here, that he was as he was born as an Amsha of Parameshwara's Trishula. So by the blessings of this Guru, he has started on the Yatra, and Paramata Kalanalaha Sanyasta Sarvakarma Dhritaika Dandaha. So though he has done sannyasa of all karmas, and he is having a single ekadanda in his hand, but due to the Shiva Bhakti, Hasta Krita Shula Kamandalu Damarukaha. So he is also carrying the Shula, Kamandalu and Damaru in his hands. Pashyatam avirbhuta Shankaraiva samavartata. So to people who are seeing him, it was as if Shiva, Bhagavan himself has come. Tabiksha gatarang tabiksha kechad advaitam gahanam shankarodhitam gurunatena samproktam shaivam ruchikaram hinaha. So looking at this new Acharya, Bhagavatpāda's Siddhanta, some people say, oh, that is very, very deep and difficult to understand. But this Guru, the Shaiva that he is teaching, this is very, very tasteful. This is very, very nice. So obviously, for such people, it is for them that Bhagavatpāda has sent this, his own Shishya by himself. Shikshita Gurunatena Vailam Vayam Kailasa Bhaginaha. So let us accept this Paramata Kalanala as Guru, and we will at least that we will definitely attain Kailasa. Not so Bhavamaiti Tatshishyaha Babhu Shaiva Margagaha. So deciding this, they all took up the Shaiva Mata as the Shishyas of Paramata Kalanala. Evam Ashesha Digvijayam Krita Tattam Deshasthane Kaunshthit. So he went into all directions, but he made some of the people there. By some, because obviously not everybody will immediately, as mentioned earlier, the vasanas, not everybody will immediately start into Shaiva Upasana. Panchakshara, so, but that is why the other matas are also necessary. Bhagavatpāda has provided for that also. So those who are devoted, to them, Panchakshara Maha Mantra Raja Upadesha Mukhena. So normally Maha Mantra is sufficient or Mantra Raja is sufficient. Here we have Maha Mantra Raja. The Panchakshara, Shaiva Panchakshara, by giving that Upadesha, this Acharya makes all those people as Shaivas, and itihi Shaivana Achakara Yatihi Paramata Kalaralaha Shri Shankaracharya Shishyaha. So this devotee, this Shishya of Paramata Kalarala, of Shri Shankara Bhagavatpāda, by this name Paramata Kalarala, he made all those people Shaivas, Shiva Bhaktas. Anandagiri Shaiva Mata Sthaparan Nama Saptashashtitamam Prakaranam. And thus ends the 67th Prakarana, and in the next Prakarana we have the Vaishnava Mata Pracharam. Tatah Paramaguruho Traigunya Vishayan Kaliyuga Manujan Drishtva Shaivarantaram Vaishnavam Matam Kalpaniyamiti. So immediately after Shaiva, Bhagavatpāda decided that Vaishnava Mata also needs to be propagated. And so for this, what does he do? Vicharya, so the Lakshmana Hastamalakau Swantaranga Shisho. So he calls two of his important Shishyas, Lakshmana and Hastamalaka by name. So it is not clear whether this is the same Hastamalaka who composed the Hastamalakim or not. That is not so explicitly mentioned here, but here it is said that he is a Vishnu Bhakta. We do not know whether that Hastamalaka has exhibited Vishnu Bhakti. Might be in some other text, we do not know. Swantaranga Shishyo Vilokya Idamubacha Idamaha Yuvajor Ashayam Batatam. So he asked those two, what is your opinion? So Tau Paramaguru Charanaravindha Yugalam Tad Sadbhaktya Uttamangeranatva, with extreme devotion, high devotion, they bow to the divine feet of the Paramaguru. And Kritanjali Damuchatuhu. So with the Anjali, they speak to Acharya. They say, Swaminne, Bhavad Upadesha Vashat, Achintyam Abhyaktam Anantarupam, Satyam Gyaravanantam Brahma Sarvakaranam Tadevahamiti Jnana Siddha Vapi. So by your Upadesha, we have received that Jnana, which shows that that Paramatma Vastu, which is beyond all thought, which is of the Satya Jnana Ananta Swarupa. And that is the cause of everything. We realize that we are that. Tadeva Ham. Iti Jnana Siddha Papi. So even though Asmadiyam Chetaha Sarvada Narayana Charanabja Sevaya Aptameva Vartate. So our mind is always involved in the Seva of Bhagavan Narayana. So these two Acharyas, they have Vasana towards the Upasana of Vishnu. So Saeva Brahma iti Sahasra Pramana Sanjataha. So we say that Saeva Brahma. So here Saeva doesn't mean that they don't accept Shiva or any such things, like Srimad Appai Dikshara says Maheshwareva Jagatamadhishware Janardaneva Jagadantaratmani Na Vastu Bheda Pratipattirastime Tathapi Bhaktihi Tarunendu Shekhare. So whether it is Shiva or Vishnu, I do not think of them are as two different tattvas. They are separate from each other. But my mind is having special devotion to Parameshwara, who is wearing the crescent on his head. And likewise, these two scholars, they say that our mind, we feel that Vishnu is the greatest Devata. Is the greatest doesn't mean in contradiction to Shiva, but we can understand it as beyond Indra and so on, higher to Indra and so on. Evam Shishya, so this is said in thousands of Pramanas in because Bhagavatpāda himself is Shruti Smriti Purananam Alaya. So in all those texts, this has been mentioned. So Evam Shishya Vacharam Nishamya Punaravadi Paramaguruhu. So listening to this, the Paramaguru Acharya says, Samichinam Lakshmana Stamalaka Vam Brahmacharino Kila Samichinam Mo. Very good. Lakshmana Hastamalaka, you two are brahmacharis. So they have not even taken up sannyasa yet. Patakalpanaya sannyasa madhya swigurata. So if they take up sannyasa and then go and do prachara of Vaishnava Mata, then it is more likely to be accepted. So Tau Atyanta Santushta Chitta. So they became very happy that by the words of Bhagavatpāda they were able to take sannyasa. Tadanimeva Paramaguru Upadesha Vashat Sannyasira Bhavata. So immediately they took up sannyasa. Tabhyam Mandita Padaha Paramaguruhu Jambuthi Damaha. So being prostrated to by those two Shishyas, this the ocean of mercy that Acharya Vishnumatam Shadvidha Bheda Virajitam Sakala Moda Karanam. So you go and do prachara of the Vaishnava Mata, which again, like Shaiva Mata, it also has 6 different internal variations, and it is something that gives pleasure, happiness to everybody. Sakala Manujya. Narayana Ashtakshara Mantropadesha Moolam. So again, like earlier, the Shaiva Panchakshara was mentioned here. The Narayana Ashtakshara Mantra should be given, and to perform or to propagate this Mata in such a form that it will be Drishta Drishta Dosha Vivarjitam. It will not have anything in conflict with the existing Veda Shastra. Evam Shadvidham Jnana Karma Vibhedena Vaishnavatam Kritva Digvijayam Kurutam. So the various forms of Vaishnava Mata, go and propagate them everywhere. Punaragata Yoho Bhavatoho Satyamiva Tad Bhavishyati. So I will make it true for you once you come back. Evam Agyaptau Patakaranada Acharyau Lakshmana Hastavalakau. So these two Acharyas, Lakshmana and Hastavalaka, were instructed by the Bhagavatpāda to do prachara of this Mata. They Kanchi Nagarat, Kramena Purva Amara Ashadayam Avalambya. So they split up actually for Vaishnava. It is only for Vaishnava Mata that Acharya is sending 2 people. So they say starting from Kanchipura, some of them go to the east, and some of them go to one of them goes to the east, and one of them goes to the west. Paramagurum Anudiram Smarantau. So they are always keeping their guru in mind. Digvijayam Chakrate, and they conducted Digvijay in all those parts. Mahi Bhorabhage Lakshmanacharya Kila Digvijayam Kripta Kamshid Brahmanadin. So in the eastern part, Lakshmanacharya did Digvijaya, and he made people Urdhvamundra Dharanam Kripta. So Urdhvamundra Dharana is something that is essentially, it is not conflicting with the Vedas. Iti Kripta Bahushishya Sametaha Punaragatya. So along with lots of new Shishyas, see, note this. So once they themselves get lots of Shishyas, they bring them to their Guru. Bahushishya Sametaha Punaragatya Paramaguru Charanam Natva. So they come and bow to the Acharya's feet. And Tadarvyavashat Mata Vijrambhana Hetukam Bhashyati Granthadehe Makaro. So it is also mentioned here that by the Anugraha of Bhagavatpāda, they composed various matas, composed texts, granthas about this mata. Astavalakastu Bhumadhyat Pashchimakhanda Digvijayam Kartva. So from the earth, from that Kanchipuram, which was earlier mentioned, they went to the western part, Hastavalaka, Kripta, Krishnadi Deva Pratishthan Kripta. So he took up the pratishtha of various devatas, and Swagatam Vigyapayitam Punah Paramagurum Prapa. So to report back to his Guru Natha, he comes back to this Kanchipuram. Drishtva Tadanim Kanchiyam Shri Paramagurum Shankaracharyan Natva Tat Padayugale Sukritam Vigyapayamasa. So coming back to Kanchipuram, he had darshan of his Paramaguru Shri Shankaracharya and worshipped his Padayugala and informed what he had done. Anandagiri Vaishnava Sthapanam Nama Prakaranam Ashtashashtikam. So thus ends the 68th Prakarana, and then after in the next upcoming Prakaranas we have the Sauramata Sthapanam, Shaktimata Sthapanam, and so on. So by the grace of Bhagavatpāda, let us do that Anusandharam in upcoming sessions. Sarva Vyapaka Chaitanya Rupena Adhyapi Tishthavi Sayeva Shankaracharyo Gurur Mukti Pradassatam. Hara Hara Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara.